All right, today I'm going to Spice Inc. to get a tattoo from my friend Cal to celebrate hitting 3K subs on the tube, and I'm also going to be doing a Q&A and answering all those questions that you sent in. So thanks to everyone who submitted a question. Let's rip and tear. All right, so here we are in beautiful Fairy Meadow, which is where Spice Inc. is located, just above the shopping centre. So let's head in there and see what my mate Cal is cooking up for me.
Lift going up.
That artwork's been
Doors
paying off.
closing.
Want to grab pipes like these, get yourself a free week of GPT.
Second floor. Doors closing.
Wait,
I'm just getting the steps ready.
yeah, that's sweet, no rush.
Angus Spring. Oh yeah, this is my. I thought as well. I'm like, oh, I think I want to get Fairy Meadow massive in script
On your
my
chest,
okay?
yeah.
Have you had any insanely hairy people? Oh, not that many, but a couple. One guy I was like, Richard Races trying to shave. Yeah, we'll come over the.
Ah, fuck yes. It's gonna be sick.
The never-ending line.
Right, do I think bananas cause fat gain? This is an inside joke about how I got kicked out of my first gym that I worked at in Wollongong. Actually, we shouldn't unpack that because I'm working at that gym again and there's been a lot of water gone under that bridge, but short answer, no. Thanks for that one, Joey. How to teach strong but unco people power cleans. I just think with weightlifting, people have too much of a perfectionist attitude towards it, and they're probably not as unco as you think. It's just a lot of people, the only people that they see weightlift, they're just paying too much attention, or hook grip videos, and people who train weightlifting full time, a lot of the dogma and perfectionism just trickles down from that. So one, just be more fine with ripping some ugly looking power cleans, especially if you're just looking for, like I said, you don't want to compete in weightlifting, you're just looking to build up your physical qualities, your rate of force development. But yeah, it's just the same. It's about you as the coach managing your expectations, not about fixing the athlete. They'll just get better with exposure over time. Who in GPP level 1 could I smoke in a 400 meter race? I reckon literally every single one of you. Obviously Matt Cahill asked this question. I reckon you're probably my biggest competition, but I still reckon I've got you covered. Up until you get a few practice runs. I know just a lot of you haven't actually run an all out 400 meters, and the first time you do it, you're gonna absolutely fry yourself. The difference between, I've done a decent amount of sprinting training, probably 18 months of fairly consistent track training before I tried my first all out 400 meter sprint. And I think first one, I clocked a 63 second 400. But the biggest thing for me that I took into my second attempt was, you're gonna get fried, right? No matter how elite you are. I'm not elite, I'm absolutely rubbish, but everyone's gonna get absolutely fried throughout that 400 meters. You just gotta empty the tank. But where I messed up is, I was too fried coming into the last bend. You've just gotta make sure that you get through that last bend okay, because it will suck all the velocity out of you. And just if you can come out of that last bend, I wouldn't say strong, you should put together a pretty good time. So on my second attempt, just by saving a little bit of myself for that last bend, I ended up clocking a 57 high or something like that. So yeah, I'll destroy all of you. But yeah, come down to the Gong and find out. Favorite cuisine, dish, shout out to Aston Hewitt, another GPP level 1 legend. It was such a mistake calling it GPP level 1. It should be called GPP level 1000, because all the coaches in there are absolute weapons. Been on the biggest sushi kick for the last year. I really do love me some raw fish, but steak is still tip of the spear. I mean, what cuisine is that? I guess who are the global leaders in steak? I guess you got to give that to Argentina. And that's it. So probably favorite steak restaurant is Bistecca up in Sydney. That's an amazing steak. There's only one thing on the menu and then just a bunch of sides. So all they offer is T-bone. They've just got this open fire pit that they're cooking on in the middle of the room, and they just come by your table with like a measuring stick and they're like, tell us where to cut it, and then they weigh it up, and then you just order a bunch of sides. They lock your phones in a little box, so it's just you, whoever you take there, and the steak. It's a phenomenal dining experience. But yeah, so like either sushi or steak. Okay, so this coach asked me to check out their Instagram page, and he was like, what are the issues with my Instagram page? The first thing I noticed is that he posts like once every 5 days, and like I said, it depends what your goals are, but whether you're trying to grow an audience or both grow an audience and then for the purpose of gaining customers and growing your business, you just have to be showing up for people a little bit more regularly than that. Like once every 5 days, like if you think about how long it takes to digest an Instagram post or something like that, you're on their mind for max 20 to 30 seconds. So if you're on their mind for 20 to 30 seconds once every 5 days, man, it's gonna be so hard to gain customers from that. Like I'm not saying you won't get them, but they'll be unicorns. Look, how I sort of look at it, on average, someone will follow me for 6 to 12 months before they make a purchase or become a customer. And I'm posting daily, sometimes 2 times a day. They probably follow my other page. They're also likely consuming my YouTube content, consuming my podcast, getting emails from me 3 times a week. Like what I sort of boil it down to is I reckon on average, people consume about 3 hours worth of my content before they become a customer, if they're ever gonna become a customer. So if you think about, okay, so you're getting maybe not even 20 seconds of exposure, maybe like 15 to 30 seconds of exposure to them once every 5 days. How long is it going to take you to get to that 3 hour sort of saturation or 3 hours worth of brainwashing to actually turn them into a customer? Good luck with that. So you need to increase your frequency. And I also, when I had a look at your content, your hooks weren't very strong. So again, you sort of got like you got about 3 seconds to stop someone from scrolling. That's typically how long someone takes to gain an impression of a piece of content in their feed, especially when they're scrolling. Like on YouTube, once you've clicked on a video, there's a little bit more friction clicking in and out compared to scrolling. So you've typically got like 30 seconds to sort of make your point and get someone hooked into the video. But again, you just said to check out your Instagram page. So work on your hooks so that someone can look at your content and within 3 seconds, get an idea of where it's going. And try to show up every day for people. A lot of people sort of stress about whether or not they're going to be able to have enough ideas for content to post every single day, but that's just on you to become a more creative person and learn to stimulate the creative muscle. But a big part of that is like just showing up and having a red hot go. Like there is a creative muscle and you have to believe in it and develop it. And there's strategies for that, but like, all right, that's enough advice. Just start posting every day. Push yourself a little. How to tell when to replenish electrolytes during running and how to do it properly. This is out of my wheelhouse. Hopefully your piss isn't too yellow before you start running. I think like that's the big battle. But you're right, like if you're running for longer than an hour, then intra-race hydration definitely is something you need to be thinking about, but there's other people you should be seeking that advice from. In the current meta, electrolytes are severely overrated. Like there's so many idiots just like waking up every day pounding a gram of salt where they probably don't need to be doing that. I'm not sure if you fall into that category, but yeah. And I love Element. I love me some Element, but like I said, electrolytes probably a little bit overrated currently. Busy weightlifter, most time efficient way to increase VO2 max. I guess like some interval training, but like, to be honest, I don't even think about VO2 max. I just think, just go do some cardio. You're already getting too deep with it. Like, go for a run occasionally, knock out some zone. I mean, this is one of my biases that I've had to rein in. My classic recommendation when getting people into cardio, especially for health purposes, is to recommend zone 2. But for time poor people, it's like you do have to, getting the amount of zone 2 to make you a healthier person, it's gonna take up a lot of time. So like maybe you should be pushing up into like zone 3. One of the main reasons I get people into zone 2 early on, even if they are time poor, is just because so many people have such a horrible relationship with cardio. Like a lot of people have this association with cardio that you've got to like be tasting blood in your mouth, be completely covered in sweat and out of breath. So it's just a good way of introducing people to cardio in a sustainable way. It's like, no, we are just trying to endure something. Throw on a podcast, throw on some Netflix and just sit on the bike and try to relax into it. Like I said, even if you're time poor, just doing like 10 to 15 minute bouts of that, and then, you know, bump it up to sort of zone 3 and like keep bumping it up a little bit. But yeah, I guarantee you the person that asked this question is currently doing barely any cardio. So first things first, make sure you got a decent step count, but then yeah, just dedicate, can you get an hour of cardio in a week at just a moderate intensity? Like I said, just do more than whatever you're doing now. It's the same principles as lifting. You just get in, doesn't matter if you're starting out with the bar, it improves over time through exposure. Hanging power clean, bend over from the hip, or super upright and lots of knee bend. It should be a mix of hip and knee bend. I don't know, just let the bar go down your thighs. I don't mind if you stay you shouldn't be that upright. Bend over from the hip or why would you be super upright? Who told you? Definitely don't be super upright. But you do want a decent amount of knee bend. What is it about sprinters that give them physiques most bodybuilders chase? They're just lean. So like one of the easiest ways to run quick is to minimize the amount of fat that you're carrying up and down the track, because obviously anything that's non-contractile tissue is not contributing to your velocity. I mean, there's even a point where contractile tissue is not contributing to your velocity, but like, especially if you're just looking at high level sprinters, you're just looking at these like genetic freaks. Like go have a look at Kashane Thompson's physique. He looks like a Dragon Ball Z character. And look, also a lot of elite sprinters, who knows what they're supplementing, right? Like everyone's like, ew, feck, like, we've got the untested Olympics. We've been watching the untested Olympics our whole lives. So, a little bit of genetics, a little bit of supplementation. But yeah, like the big thing is body composition. Okay, so someone who doesn't fit into this category of having a physique that a bodybuilder would chase, go have a look at Oblique Seville. Like, I'm not dissing the bloke. He's an amazing runner. He's like a low 9/8 or mid 9/8 runner, which is elite of the elite. And when you look at him beside his countryman, Kashane Thompson, it's like, how are these guys competitive with each other? Like, Oblique Seville does not pass the eye test whatsoever until you see him at max velocity. So yeah, like it's probably like a stereotype of elite sprinters and sprinters in general that you're looking at. But like I said, there is a few things like genetically elite. A lot of them do a lot of strength training or a decent amount of strength training. But the biggest thing is just body composition. What are my non-negotiables in a static program? I don't really have non-negotiables because I give a shit about what my clients want and what their goals are. So like a bit of hard work, but not too much hard work. I don't know, non-negotiables. Everything's negotiable. That's the whole point of a collaborative biopsychosocial approach to training, which is the gold standard. So yeah, your page says Moed weightlifting, so I'm assuming you train weightlifters. So the non-negotiables would be the competition lifts of snatch and clean and jerk, but outside of that, everything's negotiable. Following an ACL rehab protocol and doing it by yourself is good idea, ? ACL is a bit serious, so I hope you've had some consultation at least with some sort of rehab professional. But assuming that they've sort of given you some guidelines and then you're trying to self-manage, it's like, as long as you're feeling good about it and your KPIs are progressing. But it's the same as when I really fucked my shoulder and all I did was I set a timeline in my head that I was willing to self-manage, and I was like, if I start seeing a certain rate of improvement in this timeline that I'm comfortable with, I'm going to keep self-managing this injury. And there were some times where I was questioning that and starting to doubt it. But again, it was sort of always within that bandwidth of like, no, I'm okay with this. So yeah, rehab is a very personal experience, but if you are starting to worry, reach out to someone and get some professional guidance, because, and like I said, like they might just be like, yeah, you're doing everything fine, but just having that from a professional can put your mind at ease, and that's going to make it easy for you to commit to that process. It's quite a journey, and I hope it is going well for you. And yeah, have some compassion for yourself, because that is a gnarly rehab process. All right, so someone else asks how they get their content to be less sucky. And I just had a look at their page, and this person is posting consistently. Like I just was sort of scrolling back and it seems like they're posting pretty much every single day. But then I had a look at they've only done 50 posts. So, if you get that up to, like, your consistency is good, you just need to keep going and you'll get better over time. I heard Eugene Teo was pushing back on the idea that all you need to do is post more to become a better content creator and to develop some traction. And I understand what he was getting at, in the sense that there are people who are capable of showing up every single day and not improving on anything, but these people lack self-awareness, and they're probably, I mean, that can be, you can develop self-awareness over time. Like, I think it's definitely something I've got a little bit better at. So as long as you're not just like mindlessly showing up every day in a complacent way, be like, checked the box, but like, if you are actively reflecting on what you're doing and showing up every day, that is how you get better, you know? Like, it's, I mean, I don't know what Eugene Teo's alternative is. Like, like I said, I respect Eugene's point because I understand what he was getting at and where he's coming from, but like, there is just no way around doing the thing. So yeah, don't let anyone discourage you from daily posting. It helps develop the creative muscle. As long as you have some shred of self-awareness and you actually like reflect on what you're doing, have a look at the different posts, see what's working, see what's not working. And the big thing is just developing your hooks. Like, you're in such a competitive environment in the feed where it's not just other fitness content creators you're competing with. It's just like every single piece of content from every content creator that everyone else follows is just competing for their attention. So nailing your hooks just buys you that opportunity to stop people from scrolling for a second and actually sit and listen to you. Like, something else I want to say is a lot of people, they're like, oh, you know, you've got to package everything up into like such short form and you can't actually get into like a nuanced conversation on social media. That's absolute bullshit. You just have to be able to hook people in quickly. And then like, once people have actually stopped scrolling and they're like, right, I'm actually gonna digest what this person has to say, then you can sort of ramble on a little bit, but you just have to like uppercut people with a hook to get their attention. So yeah, you've only done 50 Instagram posts. So when you get that up to like a couple of hundred, you should be a better content creator by then, assuming that you are reflecting. One other tip I'll give you is, especially if you're going to post every single day, a lot of people sort of operate like a scattergun. When you have a look at a lot of the more successful content creators, like, yes, they're posting every single day, but you'll notice that they have like 4 or 5 core pillars that underpin the majority of their content. You're allowed to explore ideas outside of those pillars and try new things, but like, ultimately there should be like 4 or 5 things that you're really, really passionate about talking about. And that is also how you sort of develop a bit of a brand as well. Like, look at pages that you do like and that you don't like, make sure they're successful. Like, there's a lot of content creators where I hate their actual message, but they're really good about staying on brand and like developing these pillars. And your pillars can evolve over time, as mine do, but yeah, something to think about. Cal liked that answer. You should check out Cal's Instagram, Cal Sino Tattoo. I mean, check out Spice Inc. All the artists here are good. Obviously, I'm particularly biased towards Cal. When is my merch dropping? Yeah, nice try, buddy. Fucking my podcast producer tried to stitch me up with a merch drop last year. It was the worst business decision I've ever made. It was cool having some cool shirts. Like, I like the merch that we did, but like, man, like, the only incentive to do it is just to have people wearing my shirts, which like is nice, but as far as like it being a good revenue stream, or it's just such a fucking pain in the ass to then end up like barely making any profit. Like, mailing things off to other countries and things like that, filling out the tiny little forms to post things overseas, complete fucking pain in the ass. I never want to do it again. Until we get to not for a while. You're gonna be waiting on that for a long time. Top tier strategy to beat imposter syndrome. I don't know, like, that was one of the main reasons I went to therapy. Like, when I started getting a little bit of online traction, I think when I hit like 2K followers, I'd never done any education or seminars or webinars for people. And then an NBA team slid into my DMs and asked me to do a seminar webinar for their entire performance team and medical staff. And yeah, it really rattled me because I was like, fuck, I always felt for a long time that I wasn't respected enough as a coach. And then I just shit posted it on Instagram for about a year. And then all of a sudden had fucking NBA teams, MLB teams reaching out to me to coach all their stuff. So, I mean, I think the biggest way to sort of look at it is we're not in a meritocracy. So, I don't know, like, just get over it. But no, like, I didn't just get over it. Like I said, I went to a professional and sort of talked through it and like sort of just discussed where the thoughts were coming from. So like, it's just you being overly emotional about it. Like, are you qualified? You know, if you got your qualifications, then yeah, get rid of your imposter syndrome. Or like, I don't know, if you don't have any level of imposter syndrome, you're probably like a bit of a douchebag anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one there. It's something we all wrestle with from time to time, but you'll get over it just by consistently showing up and applying yourself. And like, that's also something that will drive you to get better at what you do. How much hip contact is needed in the clean and the snatch? Yeah, I feel like this is something where people bullshit you a lot. They're like, it's a brush, not a bang. You should be like reefing that thing into your hips. You still need good positioning because, you know, you can smash the bar out in front of you. I mean, even that, smashing the bar out in front of you, like, people make too big of a deal out of that. But again, like, there are some good lifters who have no one's really making that lighter contact with the bar. So yeah, you need a fair amount of hip contact in the snatch. In the clean, unless you have tiny little T-Rex arms, you're not gonna make hip contact. It's gonna be like upper thigh. But you definitely do want to get it like relatively high on the thigh. You don't want to be like bouncing the bar off your mid-thigh like a goober. Say you had to train Bruce Wayne to become Batman, how would you go about it? A lot of steroids, and then I'd just get him to run the GPP team program. Check that out in the description down below. That's just been absolutely pumping. That's my program. Is being accredited, brackets, CSCS, IUSA, I don't know, I've heard of a CSCS, haven't heard of an IUSA. Is that impactful to clients or does it satisfy the employers? Your clients don't give a stuff if you have a CSCS or, you know what I mean? They just want to know if you're a cool person and if you can help them or not. For some employers, it will be a sticking point. Having said that, this is why I encourage everyone to work for themselves, because many employers in this industry will mistreat you due to a scarcity mindset and just you walking around like Oliver Twist with your hand out. Like, just go build your own business, Jesus. Because I'm telling you, like, you just take some personal responsibility, build your own business, work for yourself. That's the way forward in this field if you want to get anywhere. Are you ever planning to interview Rolf Omen in the podcast? Yeah, that'd be a great interview. Yeah, it's a good suggestion. I'm going to add him to the list. I don't know when I'll get around to it, but yeah, that could be cool. Why do you rate plyo so much? Is there a limitation with progressive overload? Oh man. I'm trying to not be like Paul Carter and crash out when people ask me it's not a bad question, there's no bad questions. I said I wouldn't crash out on the podcast when people ask me questions that make me unhappy. Go try to continuously jump on one leg, and see what happens to you. Plyos can do so much for your athleticism and your physical qualities, as well as our physical structures. All right, what's the best way to address this? Why do I rate plyo so much? So this is like saying, I don't want this to come across as condescending, because I am genuinely trying to come from a good place and help you. This is as naive a question as asking, hey, why do you rate strength training? It's amazing. So in terms of like force production, we experience, I think, is it 4 times body weight or is it like 9 times body weight? Just like walking around every step. So imagine the forces that your body is experiencing when you're flying through the air, continuously jumping on one leg, or even 2 legs for that matter. So it just helps our body to both apply these ridiculous forces, but develop these qualities that help us apply ridiculous amounts of force into the ground. It helps us build really good, like people talk about like stiffness, but just like coordination of the whole muscular tendon unit sort of thing. Go watch some elite triple jumpers and then see how you go with that. And then you'll realize the difference between someone who's done a lot of plyometric training and someone who hasn't. In terms of, I'm a big advocate for strength training for developing athleticism, but let's use sprinting as an example. In the earlier phases of acceleration where you're on the ground a little bit longer, strength training can have phenomenal transfer to that. But then when it comes to max velocity, that is all plyometric ability. And I mean, sprinting is one of the best forms of plyometric training. Head to my Instagram and DM me Bundle, and then I'll flick you a link and you'll be able to download a free first month of plyometric training. You're a physio as well. Like if you're doing like return to sport for athletes and you're not exposing them to plyometric progressions, I'd say like you're being borderline negligent. I'd be quite disappointed. So I'm looking at your Instagram handle and I'll be quite disappointed if I don't see you popping up in the GPP Level 1 community, because you have a lot to learn and I'm here for you through that process. But for the love of God, at least get my free plyo program. All right, so during overhead squats, the barbell drifts forward. Should I avoid the bottom position until mobility improves? I mean, based on the way you asked the question, like, is it drifting so far forward? Is it drifting so far forward that you're missing reps? Because if that's the case, like, yes, maybe. I mean, you should still be doing overhead squats, because yeah, the rest of the question is, should I avoid the bottom position until mobility improves? Like I said, I think it's okay to do like quarter overhead squats, half overhead squats, 3/4 overhead squats, and that can be a great way to build up the full range as well. But if it's literally just the barbell drifting forward throughout the rep, but then you're still completing the reps, then I would say what's more than likely happening is you're probably in the starting position putting the barbell too far behind you, and then the barbell's actually moving into a more correct position as you sink deeper into the squat. So like I said, if you're actually missing reps, yeah, you can reduce the range temporarily and, you know, use other mobility drills to work on the specific parts of the system that are stiff, whether it's the ankles, the hips, or the thoracic spine or the shoulders. But yeah, if you're still successfully completing reps, it's not an issue. And like I said, it's probably just the barbell shifting into a more correct position. It's a common thing I see in the snatch and overhead squats, people just putting the bar like too far behind them instead of just directly above them. And the thing is, like I really encourage people to keep it like pretty close to above the crown of their head, or sometimes it'll be a little bit further back than that, and then the weight will act like a hammer and you'll be the nail, and it'll actually help push you into a deeper position. So yeah, definitely don't take overhead squats out of the program. But yeah, it's okay to do some other things, and like I said, if it's drifting so forward you're missing it, okay, yeah, try some other things. But if it's drifting forward and you're not actually missing reps, totally fine. Just keep going with the overhead squats and that'll improve over time. Yeah, like I said, just stop putting it so far behind you. Does running count as volume for the legs? Hybrid goals here. This really depends on the dose of strength training or hypertrophy training that you're running. Like, if you're running a maximal dose, like max recoverable volume for hypertrophy or strength, you're gonna have to reduce that if you're introducing running. But if you're running a more minimum effective dose of strength or hypertrophy for the legs, you may just be able to add running in on top of that and recover totally fine. And even if you are running a more maximal dose of strength or hypertrophy work, you don't always have to reduce training volumes. Sometimes you can increase your capacity by sleeping more, eating a little bit more, or just managing the other stresses in your life a little bit better. So there's always more than one lever to pull at the end of the day, and it just sort of comes down to, yeah, whatever your goals are, how much training you want to do, like I said, what your capacity for recovery is, and how much you've been using all that capacity to begin with before you added in running on top of that. And it could also just be a temporary thing, like you might need to reduce your strength training volume temporarily, but then once you sort of settle in, you might be able to bump it back up to what you were doing before. It's a little tattoo update as well. Cal's head's kind of covering it, but we're absolutely cooking here and we are getting close to a finished product. As well, I should say, like, I literally just told Cal that I wanted a panther, and like, I mean, I think I showed you the flash and the stencil, but like, yeah, if you are not the most inspired person when it comes to coming up with your own tattoo ideas, like, you just give Cal a bit of a suggestion, he will absolutely cook. And like, he's obviously always got his unique style that he brings to every tattoo, but I mean, he's got more than one style. I've seen him do things that I didn't really think was strictly in his lane. But yeah, if you go to Cal's Instagram, you like the general vibe of what he does, just throw any sort of suggestion out there. Like, I'll show you my I told Cal that I wanted a cool sword on my shin.
that's what he came up with, all on his own accord. So yeah, you really don't need to give him much.
Open on the top of his head there.
All right, we fucking did it. We've obviously got to come back. We ran out of time to just do the spines and a bit of grey wash and stuff, but I'll give you a proper look at it in a second. Boom, there it is. Skull Pegasus Panther, a demonic panther. Or the Bulleye Panther. That was the original inspiration for that. I do love Bulleye, my hometown. Fucking there's Cal. Alright, time to grow the pipes even more. Create a better canvas for next time. Alright, that'll do us for today. I'm absolutely cooked. Thanks to everyone who sent in a question. Obviously, I'll leave the details for spicing down in the description, as well as Cal's Instagram page if you want to check out some of his art. But yeah, don't be scared, reach out, make a booking and get some gnarly shit on you.